media. The voting for the UP polls are going on, and meanwhile, let's talk about the battle for the Yadavland and UP Assembly polls 2022. February 20, D-Day for the Yadav clan. While chacha Shivpal Yadav was fighting to save his turf in Jaswantnagar assembly seat, Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav was fighting his first assembly election from Karhal constituency. The voter turnout for phase 3 of the Uttar Pradesh assembly election stood at 61.61%, with the voter turnout standing at 65.10% in Manipur's Karhal. Political pundits believe polarization has emerged as a dominating issue this election season. But according to some sources, to people on the ground, issues like stray cattle, inflation and unemployment were at the forefront of the voters' minds. Now first, let's take a major look at the first issue, that is hijab, which is not a pressing issue on the Yadav belt currently. Karhal is often touted as the home seat for the Mulayam Singh Yadav and family. The city's demographic, which consists of 1.25 lakh Yadavs and 18,000 Muslims, made it an impenetrable fort for the Mulayam Singh and his clan as they hold sway over both these communities. The whole of the Yadav clan can be gauged by the fact that Samajwadi Party has lost this seat just once since the party's inception in 1992. As the row over hijab spread across Karnataka and spilled over the other states, there have been some sources that spoke to the women voters in Karhal to gauge their thoughts on the issue. While feeling shy, some of them stayed away from commenting, but Razia and her daughter Sultana, who had come to cast their vote wearing a hijab, said, "Our issues are mehengai, unemployment, not hijab. No one can tell me what I should or should not wear. If parties think they can get our votes by racking up such trivial issues, they are in for a shock." Well, there have been sources who also spoke with a group of young college women to find out what were the issues they had in mind while casting their vote. For girls our age, law and order and future employment prospects are pressing issues. We need to feel safe when we step out, and when we complete our education, we should be able to get a job, one of them said. While we are religious, Ram or Rahim aren't issues we vote on. It was the earlier generation that only used to vote on these issues, they added. Well, women voters are essential for the Bharatiya Janata Party. It was the women voter which stood firmly behind the party in 2014, 17 and 2019 elections as well. Now let's move on from this and take a look at the other issue, which is the farmers' issue, the bull. Apart from the women voters, UP farmers are important for any political party in that state. Well, sources have spoken with farmers in area and they all lamented about one issue which has plagued them for a long while, the bull. In the state, people keep the buffalo for farming, milk and poultry products, but the bull was often raised as livestock useful for meat. With the government banning slaughterhouses, stray bulls are seen in every nook and corner of the state. It is the bull which is constant pain for the farmers now. A farmer from Karhal said the stray cattle are giving us sleepless nights. All of us have to stay up all night like owls and guard our fields against stray cattle. Well, another one said the governments think we are fool and sudden borahaha about hijab is to deviate from the real issues. But we know better now. We get money from the government, but that isn't reducing our burden. When Yogi Adityanath banned illegal slaughterhouses, we did not anticipate its long-term effects. The order was implemented in 2017 and we are suffering now, someone added. Well, 50-year-old farmer Shiv and his son Mayank, who is employed in Noida at a garment factory, spoke about the resentment in the community. They said the government has been highlighting its free ration scheme. We agree we are getting free ration, but issue of stray cattle has not been addressed and it is ruining our produce in the fields. The duo also added the crops worth thousands are destroyed and the government wants us to celebrate a few rupees worth of free gain. It is not fair and we are losing this battle against the increasing number of stray cattle in the region. It was BJP's election manifesto in 2017 where the party had promised to shut down all illegal slaughterhouses and place curbs on all mechanical abattoirs in the state. The menace of the stray cattle is such that even Prime Minister Narendra Modi had to acknowledge the problem in his rally in Kanpur a few days ago. Well, PM Modi acknowledged the problem and promised a long-term solution. He said the government is trying to address the stray cattle problem in setting up shelters. After March 10th, which is when election results will get announced, the exercise of setting up shelters will be fast-tracked. Attempting are being made to make UP a big dairy hub to benefit farmers, he added. Well, now let's move on and look at the other issues. Here we have temple to infrastructure, which SP promises all. The Samajwadi Party understands this task at hand and that is why it is trying to woo the voter with every promise ammunition in its arsenal. From swift construction of Ram Temple to better hospitals and schools, the Samajwadi Party wants to give it all to the voters of the state. Well, in an exclusive conversation with India Today, the SP leader Ram Gopal Yadav said Akhilesh Yadav will win by 1.5 lakh votes. BJP is a party of thieves. Once Akhilesh becomes the CM, the construction of Ram Temple will be swift. Well, Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav, while addressing the media after casting his vote, said, "Whatever the present government has done is for everyone to see. I just want to assure the Janta that our focus will be hospitals, schools, better roads and infrastructure. I fail to understand why Uttar Pradesh cannot be Silicon Valley of India." Well, while there are claims, counter-claims galore, results on March 10th will declare who will wear the crown. But for now, it looks like for voters in Karhal, issues like unemployment, inflation, stray cattle, etc. are more important than issues along the religious or the caste lines that's going on in entire country. Well, meanwhile, let's have a look at whether BJP can repeat 2017 in Kanpur or not. Kanpur had voted overwhelmingly for the BJP in 2017 Assembly and 2019 Lok Sabha elections. This was despite the anger over the setbacks as a result of demonetization. It was then that the BJP had made 2 of its 7 MLAs who had won from Kanpur's 10 seats cabinet ministers in Yogi Adityanath's government. Well, this time it is the BJP that is trying to retain power in Kanpur. The Cabinet Minister for Infrastructure and Industrial Development, Satish Mahanna, an MLA from Kanpur since 1991, who is trying to win his 8th Assembly election, is the only star campaigner in the Manchester of the East. Well, on the day of the polling, he was seen worshipping Lord Krishna, also called as Kanha by beloved devotees of Kanpur. The Lord has given me many chances to serve the people of Kanpur. It is a blessing to serve the people. This blessing comes only to those fortunate. I often ask myself, why does the Janta choose me? First, it is the political party they trust. Second is the candidate and what he or she has done in the 5 years term, he said. Speaking of his opponent fielded by the Samajwadi Party from Maharajpur seat, he said he will lose by even more votes than his predecessor. When we spoke to the voters, they said Fateh Bahadur, the SP candidate, will not win from this seat. Well, why? Because they feel he isn't strong enough and doesn't bring anything to persuade the people of Kanpur. Some even said there is no option in front of Mahana. But some who came all the way from Delhi to vote in Kanpur urban area said healthcare is a major issue for them. Healthcare in this city is very dismal. which was exposed during the second wave of COVID-19. If we compare this to Delhi, check any hospital in Kanpur, you will have a tough time getting a bed, said an urban voter. Well, unemployment is also a big issue. Young voters like Gauri and her brother Yash want more working opportunities in Kanpur. Gauri is a student of architecture. She wants to come back to study in Kanpur and wants a specialized institute for architecture to be here on the lines of those in Delhi. Well, this was all about UP elections and the battle for the Yadavland. Stay with us, we shall bring you more interesting topics to talk upon. This is Aparna Singh reporting for iScope Media.